Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. So next is Mike Brenner. Today is July 12th, and it's serious right now, Mike Brenner. We are in the heart of our division previews in the NFL. Right now, we're taking a look at the AFC North, one of the most interesting divisions in all of football. Of course, we have the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Ravens, three very interesting. And then even from an ATS perspective, the Browns might be interesting. I feel like long term, and I'm talking about 2, 3, 4 years down the road, the Browns might surprise. The Browns might become a good bet at times, possibly even this year. They're really building for the future. They got the new coach, and it seems like it's a new system there, and we might be in for even as soon as this year they might be a good bet ATS. Now they're not going to win the AFC North though. The Steelers and I don't even know where to start. Well, let's start with the Steelers.
Well, Pete, just to touch on what you said, because we had talked about it a while back with Cleveland. With all the drama that Manziel left them with, everything else, the issues, the new coach, you got Hugh Jackson coming in. There's still a decent defense there. So I got a feeling early on, no, I think it's decent enough.
Statistically last year,
but I think it's going to be an imploded line first 2 or 3 weeks because of all the drama. And I think their defense might just hold them in some games earlier. Just my thought.
Statistically, they were 27th overall last year.
Okay,
no, you're right. You're right.
There's some ingredients there.
There's a big youth movement there. And, long term, and maybe I'm high on them, and maybe even this year from an ATS perspective. But let's look at the top 3 teams. All right, starting with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We've talked about this quite a bit. Obviously, Le'Veon Bell coming back and being healthy is a big plus. Martavis Bryant being out is a negative.
Yep.
And Ben Roethlisberger's health is a big question mark. They're the favorite in the AFC North at plus 125. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think so. We talked about this also. I think they're overvalued here.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati deserves that respect as far as top spot. Again, it's nothing against Pittsburgh with what they're doing, but Ben, he did those injuries last year, got to him, Pete. He's another year older. Yes, Bell's coming back. Will he be as effective? It might take him a little while. Then again, he might just light it up. But my biggest question mark for Pittsburgh is that defensive unit. It's just not the same. Cincinnati, I think, is just younger, more solid, more focused than Cincinnati. Although they went out again last year in the playoffs, they went deeper than they have gone, and they're going to build on that momentum. I think Andy Dalton's going to have a really, really spectacular year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, Pittsburgh defending the pass, they were 30th in the league last year. And the NFL's a passing league.
Absolutely.
That ain't going to get it done. All right, so let's move on to Cincinnati.
They need to fly in Hawaiian like never before.
Yeah, so they're plus 125. The Bengals are currently plus 188.
Yeah.
And they not only are they coming off of a great year, they had a nice offseason, right?
Yes.
So a lot of but they lost Hugh Jackson now.
Yeah.
How much was he an essential component of Andy Dalton having such a great year last year? Maybe, maybe not. It's a little bit hard to say, right?
Now, had Andy Dalton been younger, I think that effect Pete would have had more of a factor in it. But I think Andy Dalton has seasoned enough vet. He learned enough from Hugh Jackson. He grabbed it, and whoever steps in, because I don't have it right in front of me here. But bottom line, that offense is pretty much clicking on all cylinders. A.J. Green's going to have another good year. I just really feel he's going to step up from last year. And, they're doing very well at the tight end position. And always they're ready on the defensive side. Yeah.
Did you know that Cincinnati has actually gone over their season win total in each of the past 5 years?
I saw that.
So, they're not necessarily, obviously, we know how they disappoint in big games. We know how they disappoint in the playoffs. But during the regular season, they tend to overachieve a little bit. Yeah. And, of course, remember last year, against the spread, they were money most weeks. I think they were 12-3-1, something like that, against the spread. Expectations are high this year, but maybe the Bengals will once again be a good bet ATS, maybe 9-7, 9-6-1 something like that.
Yeah, well, let me ask you, though, Pete. Let me ask you, with Cincinnati having everything you just stated, and it's all solid, why is Pittsburgh ahead of them? Do you think? I don't think
because on paper, I mean, the offense could be huge. If Roethlisberger plays up to his career stats and Bell plays up to his career stats, and the offense is as productive as people. If they start, if that would indicate that they're going to, score close to 30 points a game, and if we know that they're going to score close to 30 points a game this year, they're probably going to win the conference, the division, right?
And that change came with offensive coordinator Todd Haley when he came over. But again, I just think Big Ben's a little bit banged up more than people knew at the end of last year.
Sure.
So I'm not going to fade them per se, but I'm going to bank on Cincinnati, and I think Pittsburgh's going to be a little overvalued. I'm going to ride some dogs against Pitt this year.
Let me put it this way. On paper, the line does make sense to me, right? Okay. I'm not looking at this scratching my head. It does make sense, which if you're looking to fade something, you want the line to make sense to you. Because if you're scratching your head and the line doesn't make sense to you, it's probably because you aren't aware of something. But if it makes sense to you and you want to fade it, that's a good sign. Yeah. And then let's talk about Baltimore Ravens, another very interesting team, of course, coming off a year just decimated by injuries. Nothing you can do about that, but that's one of they're one of the teams that last year was just their excuse for injuries is completely legitimate.
And they really haven't recovered from the Ray Rice drama. That was huge. That really affected that team more so, Pete, than it shows on the paper and on stats. And Harbaugh, I love him. He is a great coach, but I am not sold on Joe Flacco. I think he's overpaid.
Right.
I think he underproduces, and I got a feeling this year that guy's going to be lackadaisical. A leader for me at the quarterback position is on that sideline. He's pumping up the team. If you ever look at Flacco, he goes, he sits by himself. He doesn't mingle with anybody. He doesn't get involved. He's not looking at tape, not looking at his tablet. I think that team, again, you're going to see something different, and I don't think they're going to. I don't like them this year.
Yeah, that's the question. If they all come back healthy, but
mediocre.
Flacco. I actually agree with you on that one, Mike Brenner. I agree. I'm not. It's not hard set in stone that I'm going to be fading them from the get-go. But
and they've never really recovered from the receiver position. They don't have a standout go-to deep threat like they had when Steve Smith was healthy.
Right.
And I mean, he's back again.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but. Come on, he's older. That's an older seasoned vet as well. So
yeah, they had a decent draft, but they've had some issues with cap management, and I would agree with you that my sense as of right now, July 12th, is that they're going to be overvalued, and one of those key factors is that Flacco might be in decline, and if he's in decline, then that brings the whole team down. And last year we saw them just sort of like on defense just not really show up. They were just kind of like they didn't have their head in the game. So all right. So I think we're roughly in agreement with the AFC North, and I would have to definitely agree with you. If I had to make a pick to win the division right now at the current odds, Cincinnati at almost 2-1.
Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind, and I would put Pittsburgh in second, but I don't think Baltimore and Cleveland are going to make too much noise, and I mean that with all due respect.
Yep.
Hey, Pete, before we close this thing out, hey guys, check out OCDpicks.com. Matter of fact, Pete and I have some WNBA picks on there today, and also you want to definitely check out the Sportsbook Review Guide. You want to know who you guys are playing with. Go with those guys that have the high ratings because they pay, and we want to make sure you get paid. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Great pitch, Mike.
Okay.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.